So if you'll observe here, everything you can see, metals, we have a very wide applications in our daily life. So you can see here, very large number of purposes we are using, like cooking utensils, electric fans, sewing machines, cars, buses, trucks, trains. Next one you can take even ships are made up of understanding metals only, and as well as aeroplanes. So everywhere from understanding from morning to evening, we are using a lot of metals in our daily life for different in the form of different purposes. So for example, just now I said doctors. So doctors, they are using scissors, etc. Understanding cesarean for anything, they are using like a scissor, different kind of scissors. Suppose you can take a dentist, they will use to remove the spoiled teeth, this tooth decays and all with the help of scissors only. So like any kind of surgeries, everybody they will use scissors and all. Even syringe is also having what? Metal needle. Is it yes or no? So like we have a lot of applications even everywhere. They are using in software company, they are using, yes Nitina, they will use for inside. You can see every computer inside, they are having some amount of metals. Understanding that the battery storage and all, they will use lithium ion batteries. So everywhere we are having a large applications of metals. Understand? Many purposes we are using in our daily life. So this all are made up of, if you see, not only purely metals. So not only made up of only metals. So maybe mixture of metals also. So that mixture of metals also we can call it as what, guys? Mixture of metals. What we can call? Mixture of metals is known as what? Anybody? Mixture of metals is known as alloys. That is, you should remember. So we are using directly a metal or a mixture of metals. That is what we should call it as alloys. Respond me. What we should call alloys. Understand?
Sir, what you can't understand, sir?
What?
The mixture of metal means what?
Mixture of metals means more than one metal we will combine together. Understand? For example, if we take steel, understand, steel is made up of more than one metal like iron, nickel, manganese and all. So that is what we should call it as alloy. More than one metal will combine together, not chemically. This is actually, alloy is not chemically combined. That is why it is called as mixture. What we should call, Nitya Karthikeyan? Mixture we should call. Is it okay, da?
Yes, sir.
Harini, understand Harini, Nitish, everybody. So that is what you should remember. So steel is an alloy. It is like a mixture of more than one metal. That is what we should call it as. So either we are using directly metals or a mixture of metals called as alloy. So you can see here the list of articles made up of metals which we are using in our daily life is unending. Understanding? So lot of applications wherever we can go. Every person using different varieties of metals.
Sir, voice is breaking, sir.
Yes. Just a second. Now is it okay? Respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Let us observe very carefully. Metals
Sir,
are...
Sir, it is still breaking, sir.
Yes, okay. Metals are very important for the national economy of every country. That is what we can say. Mining. Do you heard anything about mining? Mining, please respond me. So, if you observe these metals, mining means they are present inside the earth crust. Where they are present? Inside the earth crust. So, in a country which is having more number of, understanding, more sources of these metals, then that country will grow economically very stronger and much faster. That is what you should see. So the countries which contains these metals, these metals are very important in the national economy. What is that, Ra? National economy. So for example, one metal I will say, uranium. Have you heard about uranium, guys? Respond me. Arvind?
Yes, sir.
Yes, uranium is a metal where we can use. Uranium is a metal where we can use in nuclear technology. Where we are using? Nuclear technology.
Nuclear technology.
So 1 gram of uranium, if for example, 1 gram of uranium, if you used to found around, you used to get crores of money, not grams, understand, remember, not thousands, crores of money you will be benefited if you are used to find uranium, because uranium is that much highly reactive element which is useful to generate electricity, nuclear power plants. Understanding, they used to use this uranium is a catalyst to generate electricity only. But uranium extraction is a very, very cost effective process, and because of this, generations and generations, they will be affected with the physically handicapped, because the genes modification, the DNA modification has been taken place much and much faster. So babies born with physically disabled persons. Do you understand, guys? That is what will happen. So suppose particular area Pudukkottai, the uranium mining is going on, then near around 10 to 15 kilometers of Pudukkottai from that place, everything slowly, the water will become poison, the food will become poison, agriculture will not be takes place, all the animals also, they will give the birth to the new babies physically handicapped, and understanding mentally disordered people will born. Fruits also, they will get some kind of infections where the healthy fruits cannot grow. Like that, so many disadvantages we have. That is why in our India, uranium mining is very, very less. We have a lot of applications, but we are having a lot of disadvantages also. So that is what you can, very, very dangerous this metal. But these metals, if you have like this costly metals, for example, gold only you can take. Gold is one of the most precious metal. Is it yes, guys? Yes or no? And every Indian used to like wear the gold in the form of some kind of ornament. So like that, more gold is available, more rich. Understanding, the company economy will grow much faster. That is why we can say metals are much more important factor in the national economy also. Now you can see these metals. Understand, the most abundant metal in the earth crust, if you take earth crust, where is the location of these metals, where they are present, on the surface or inside the surface of the earth? Anybody?
Inside the surface.
Inside the surface. So inside the surface means that is what we can call as what? Earth crust. What we should call earth crust. Do you understand, guys? So if we'll take this earth crust, most of the metals is available inside this earth crust only. So inside this earth crust, if we'll take the most abundant metal, anybody should say, what do you mean by abundant? Nitinath, Nitesh, Harini, what do you mean by abundant metal? Anybody can say. What do you mean by abundant? Hari, nobody knows. Bhumika, earth crust. Jesse, can you answer? Under the earth crust, the most abundant metal means highly available metal. What is that? Abundant means what? Majority, most available metal. That is what we should call as abundant. What we should call, guys? Abundant. Understanding? So if we'll take the most abundant metal under the earth crust is aluminium. What is that? Aluminium. Important, very, very, very important MCQ. What is the most abundant metal in the earth crust? Who is that? Aluminium. So if you'll observe which constituents, percentage also. Now it is MCQ, guys. You have to respond me. So if you'll take aluminium, understand, which constitutes about 7% of the earth crust. So if you'll take inside the earth crust, totally which is equals to 100% means. So in that 7%, who is present? Who is present? Aluminium. So the percentage of aluminium inside the earth crust, is 7%. Please note it down. So this is the first abundant element. What is that? First abundant element. Now, same way it will take second most abundant element. Can you able to say second most abundant element? Then what you have been studied here? Tell me, what do you mean by second most abundant element? Second most abundant metal. Can you guess anybody? Can you guess anybody? That is also metal only. Can you guess it? That is what we are using, called as iron. What we should call? Iron. Understand, Ra? Please respond me. Iron, and the percentage of iron inside the earth crust is 4%. How much, Ra? How much, Ra?
4%.
That is, you should remember. So you observe very carefully the decreasing, the major elements, the major metals in the earth crust in the decreasing order. Decreasing order in mathematics, what we should call ascending order or descending order? Tarani, Jesse, ascending order or descending order? Harini?
Ascending order, sir.
Ascending order means high to low. Understanding, Ra? So if you'll observe the decreasing order of abundance, I am saying you now, remember one of the most important MCQ. They will ask you this one also, but nobody knows. Varsini, are you there in meeting? So if we'll take here the decreasing most important elements only, I will say. So the decreasing order of their abundance. What do you mean by abundance, Arvind? Abundance means what? Availability. Understand?
More in quantity.
What is the first most abundant? What is the first most?
Aluminium.
Understanding. Next, aluminum is followed by whom? Aluminum is followed.
Iron.
Everybody remember, iron is followed by calcium. Iron is followed by what? Calcium. Calcium is followed by sodium. What is that? Sodium. Next, sodium is followed by potassium. What is that? Potassium. Potassium is followed by magnesium. Do you understand? And this is only little bit percentage is available. If we go remaining metals, they are available in very less percentage. That is why we are not talking about it also. But from this alone, the one possibility of MCQ will come like that. They will set a 4 options in such a way that the decreasing order of abundant elements in the earth crust. So they will give you different kind of symbols. Understanding aluminum is less than, understanding iron is less than, calcium less than, sodium less than, like that. Or else they will give you aluminum is greater than, iron is greater than, calcium is greater than, sodium, etc. Or else sodium is less than, iron is greater than, less than, aluminum or greater than calcium, like that will give you. So this is what we should call. This is, what is this, Ra? Decreasing order. What is that, guys? Decreasing order. That is, you should remember. So ascending order. What is that? Ascending order. High to low. Ascending means high to low or low to high?
High to low.
High to low.
High to low? I think wrong. I think. Remember once and tell me. Ascending order means high to low only. Please
Low
respond.
to high.
Low to high.
Low to high, sir.
Then you are saying ascending order. This is what we should call descending order. What is that? Descending, decreasing, high to low it will come. That is. Please note it down. Till here any doubt? Ask me. Clear? Tarani, Akshaya, Jesse, Akil Irfan, Anusri, everybody. Harini, Pranav. Nobody is responding. Pranita, are you
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you'll understand this, Padmavashni, so this is all about the metals. Any doubt till here you ask me. Please note it down. So this is the most important one. Ra. So this is all about the metals. Now, if you'll understand these metals, then what is the second category of major categories of elements? What is that, Ra? That is called as
Non-metal.
what you should call? Non-metals. So please all of you keep it in. Non-metals. 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 So, opposite to the metals, you can observe here. Metals means what we have studied, general definition, guys, which will conduct heat and electricity, and they are malleable and ductile in nature. Correct or not? Now, non-metals, opposite to the metals is called as non-metals. So, can you able to say what is that? Non-metals are the elements. What is that? That they do not understand. Some explanation is there. We will study that. Do not conduct. Understand, Ra? Do not conduct heat and
electricity.
Heat and electricity. Heat and electricity. And they are what? And are neither malleable. What is that? neither malleable nor ductile. Neither
Ductile.
malleable nor ductile. And they are what in nature? They are what in nature, Jesse? They are brittle in
Brittle in
nature.
nature.
They are brittle in nature. Do you understand? Pranav, they are brittle in nature. Bhumiga, Yalni, that is Varshini. Clear, Varshini? That is you should remember. So they are brittle in nature. They are not neither malleable nor ductile in nature. They are brittle in nature. What do you mean by brittle, Ra? Karthikeyan? What do you mean by brittle in nature? Arun Karthikeyan? Tarani? What do you mean by brittle in nature? That is what I want the answer. Anybody?
The tendency of an element to break.
Yes, which will break easily. What you should call, Anusri? Which will break easily. That is you should remember. Next, also what? Non-metals are not lustrous. Arya will say. What do you mean by not lustrous, Arya? Not lustrous. Arvind? Nitinath?
Not shining.
Not shiny.
Not with shiny appearances.
Not shiny.
Not
Next. They are what in appearance? They are dull appearance. They are dull appearance.
appearance.
Sandra, they are dull in appearance. Next, you can see. What is the nature? Is it they are soft and hard? They are what? They are generally soft. They are generally soft and not strong. Understand, guys? They are not strong. Next one, last thing. So if you'll observe here, they are very light substances though. So in the sense of they will produce the sound. Nitinath, that exemption we will study, Nitinath. Don't worry. Understand, Nitinath? So they are very light substances. So if they are light substances in the sense of, is it they are sonorous in nature or non-sonorous in nature? Harini, sonorous or non-sonorous? They are light substances. So they are
Non-sonorous.
sonorous. Understand, Ra? They are non-sonorous in nature. What do you mean by non-sonorous, Akshaya? What do you mean by non-sonorous?
They won't produce sounds.
They can't produce any sounds.
Do not make, very good. Do not make ringing sound. Do not make ringing sound. That is what we should call as soft in nature. So this is all about the non-metal. So please all of you write it. These are all the things like how I written, like that only written. So right. So what do you mean by non-metals? That do not conduct heat and electricity. We don't want to write more larger paragraphs. Write in this shortcut enough. So that is what which will indicate everything properties. Now everybody write your own examples of non-metals, not compounds. Non-metals I want. Examples of non-metals. Respond me. Examples of non-metals. Respond me.
Carbon.
Major one, very good. Carbon. Carbon is the most abundant element. Next, sulfur. What is that? Sulfur. Phosphorus. Phosphorus. Yeah, chlorine. Silicon.
Sodium.
Hydrogen. Sodium metal. Who said again sodium? Sodium is a metal, correct?
Helium.
Yeah, nitrogen, chlorine, bromine, iodine, like that you can write, etc. Even neon, argon, understand, Ra? You can write argon. These all are called as non-metals. So please write it, properties, write it first, all of you. Do it fast. Arvind, is it over? Nitinath? Everybody, Jesse, Harini, Pranita, respond me. Why are you silent? Tarini, you also. Now at least over 3 months over, again get back now. Be active in the class. Write it fast. Is it over? All of you? Silicon is also a Nitinath. We will consider as a metal only, non-metal only. But that is what I am saying, Nitinath. Here, whatever the things will come, we won't discuss about the third category. Is it okay, Nitinath? Only will categorize.
Okay, sir.
That's all. Understand? That is okay. Carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, etc., etc. So these all are called as non-metals. If you'll observe, Nitin, then neon and argon we can call as a what? Helium, neon, argon. They are called as noble gases, correct? But still they are called as what? What we should call? Non-metals. That is you should remember. So, if we'll take here, so now you can say the most important allotropes of carbon. This is what you should remember. So, the two allotropic forms are actually three forms will be there, but majorly on the earth, two forms of allotropes are present. What are the two allotropic forms of carbon? Anybody? What is the two allotropic forms of? What do you mean by allotropic? Anybody? Allotropic forms of carbon. Carbon is existed. Remember, allotropy means, now again I'm saying last time. Remember, same chemical formula. What is that? What is that? Same chemical formula, but different physical structure. What is that? Different physical structure is called as what, Ra? Allotropy. Understand, Ra? Allotropy is nature. So what are the two major forms of two allotropic forms of carbon? Anybody can say?
Graphite.
Somebody said, what is that?
Graphite.
What is that, Ra? Diamond and
Graphite.
Diamond and graphite.
diamond and also we can call it as what? Graphite are called as the most two allotropic forms of graphite, carbon. But one more is there which is present in interstellar stars. Understanding means in between the stars it is present. What is that called as? Fullerenes. What we should call? Fullerenes. Understand, Ra? This is the third allotropy of carbon. Please remember that. Fullerenes. Best example of fullerenes is C60, which is known as Buckminster fullerenes. What is that? Buckminster fullerenes. This is the third allotropy of carbon. Remember that. So then why are you not saying three forms? Usually these two are present in under the earth crust, understanding, on the earth. But this is present in where this is present, Ra? Bhumiga, Jesse, where it is present? Where it is present? It is present in interstellar stars. Interstellar stars means where it is present in. Understanding? Majorly in the between the stars it is present. That is why it is called, understanding, like it is not present in the earth. That is why we are not discussing about it. So only two forms of allotropies of carbon element, that is diamond and graphite. So this diamond and graphite also we can call as what? Metals or non-metals, Ra? They are also called as what? Non-metals only. Understand, Ra? So now if you take, so how many non-metals are there? Can you guess it around? There are around 22 non-metals are there. What is the total number of non-metals, Ra? 22 non-metals. 22 non-metals are there. What do you mean by non-metals? Anybody? What do you mean by non-metals? They are non-metallic elements, non-metallic characters, means their characters are showing like a non-metals, like not conducting electricity, not malleable in nature, not ductile in nature. They are called as non-metals, or we can say non-metallic elements. What we should call, Ra? Non-metallic elements. So totally how many are there, Nitina?
What is the total count for metals, sir?
22, sir.
Metals you can take remaining all. 22 metals or 22 non-metals are there. Remaining you can see. That is what I can say. Some textbooks they will give 105, 115. Some textbooks they will give 118. So but still exact count till present 118. So now 118 minus 22 means how much it will come? You can remember 96. Yes or no? Correct? 96 metals are there. Is it okay, Ma? Understand? But here in this, some
Yes,
are metals and some metallites also there, but we won't categorize as metallites. Understand? Because if you'll observe, like in silicon, you can take silicon is actually metalloid. So in this out of 118, only 7 elements, some from metals and some from non-metals, will called as a metalloids. But here we are not all talking about the metalloids. That is why we're talking about 96 metals and 22 what? 22?
96 includes the metalloids also.
Includes metalloids also. In that non-metals also metalloids is there. We cannot say that. Understand, Ashika? We are not discussing
Yes,
about.
sir.
So if we are studying about classification of periodic table, 5th chapter, there we will classify. Okay, ma? There we will study. Don't worry. Understand? That is. So 22 non-metals are there, which are non-metallic elements, we can also say. So in these, 10 non-metals are solids. What is the count out of 22? 10 are, what is the state, Ra? 10 non-metals are solid in state. Understand, Ra? And 1 is in liquid state. So now 22 out of 10 plus 1 gone. Now remaining how many, Ra? Remaining how many? Respond me. Remaining how many? 11. Understand, Ra? So 11 we used to call it as what? 11 what we should call? They are present in gaseous state. So
Gaseous state.
these are the state of non-metals. So non-metals are present in how many states? They are present in solids, they are present in liquids, as well as they are present in gases.
Gaseous state.
Remember. So count is most important. What is the metal? Solid non-metals. Solid non-metals are 10. Liquid non-metals are only 1. And gases non-metals are 11. So if you'll observe here, that is what we can say. Non-metals are solids or gases except one. That one and only called as what? The only non-metal which is present in liquid state. Nithinas is already said. What is
Bromine.
it? Bromine. What is that? Bromine is the only non-metal. Understand? Which is present in liquid state. At where temperature? At room temperature.
Room temperature.
Room temperature. This is the most important thing. Understand, Bhumika? Arvind? Tharani? Yes, that is you should remember. Pranita, understand, Pranita?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is, now you can see during chemical reactions. So now this is a general definition. Now during chemical reactions, metals will lose the electrons. So non-metals, what will happen, guys? Can you say? Non-metals
Gains electrons, sir.
they will
Gain the electrons. Gain the electrons.
remember. So during chemical reactions, non-metals they will form what? They will form negative ions by what? By what, Nitinath? Kartikeyan? By
Gaining electrons.
By gaining electrons. That is you should remember. So based on this observation, now Pranav will form the definition of non-metals, or else Padmavarshini, can you form the definition of non-metals based upon this? Please respond me. Yalini, anybody can form.
Non-metals are the elements which gain electrons to form negative ions.
Yes, that is you should remember. So non-metals are the elements which forms negative ions by gaining electrons. Varshini, gaining electrons also we can call it as what? Gaining electrons also we can call it as what?
Non-metals.
No.
Donating electrons, sir.
Accepting electrons. What you should call? Accepting electrons. Remember. So non-metals are the elements which form negatively charged, which forms negative ions, by gaining electrons. Gaining electrons also we can call it as accepting electrons. That is it okay, guys? Accepting electrons. For example you can say. Any example, please? Tarani, Ashika, any example, please? Example, Jesse, can you give the example of non-metal which will form negative ions? For example, if we take oxygen only. So what is the oxygen? Oxygen. Very good. Chlorine also. Oxygen you can take. What is oxygen? Can you guess? Oxygen. which forms what? O2 minus. O2 minus in the sense of Arvind or anybody can say. Arya, can you say how many electrons it is gaining? How many electrons it is gaining? 2
2,
electrons.
sir. 2.
Understand? So it is gaining 2 electrons and it is turning into what? O2 minus. That is what you should remember. So all the non-metals, they will gaining the electrons and they will form the negatively charged ions. But one is there. What is that exemption? Can you guess? What is that exemption? Hydrogen. What is that? Hydrogen. So forget about hydrogen. So they are forming negative ions. They are forming negative ions. That is why these are called as electronegative elements. What we should call? What we should call? Electronegative elements. These are known as electronegative elements because Vaira, they will form negatively charged ions. So if you'll observe any understanding, there are one exemption is there, that is hydrogen, except exemption. Again, we'll study that, no issues. So exemption is there, that is what we can say hydrogen. What is that? Hydrogen. So this hydrogen, even though it is a non-metal, understand, element which loses electrons to form what? To form positive ion. Do you understand? Which loses electrons and forms which ions? Forms positive ions. Positive ions. Usually hydrogen will form both positive plus negative. Understanding? Some situations it will gain, some situations it will lose, but most of the cases, understanding, instead of gaining, it will lose the electrons and will become stable in nature. That is why we can say the hydrogen, even though it is a non-metal, it will behaves like a what, guys? It will behaves like a what, guys? It will behaves like a metal. That is the reason why hydrogen is included in metal activity series. So this is all about the non-metals. Now from here, like what is the important role of understanding non-metals in our daily life? Next one, what is the most abundant non-metals in the earth crust? Like that is all properties and all we'll study in the next class. And also what next we'll start, what is the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So most probably within this week, we people will finish this chapter in the sense of daily we can take the classes. So with this, I will stop the today's class. Thank you all of you, and just please all of you wait a minute. Don't leave from the meeting. 1 second, you have to wait. Okay, do you understand, guys? Respond me. Any doubt till here?
No, sir.
Okay, clear? So that's so please all of you can leave. Okay, leave from the meeting. Thank you all of you. Bye.